we should kind of take a step back and think about defining community and community building. It's kind of a label that is slapped on a lot of different things. We talk about community a lot, hear that term a lot, and then community building, but don't necessarily talk about what we mean by that, what we're working towards. And so that's kind of the angle that we are taking tonight, is to sort of take a step back and sort of peel back some of the layers around what I think is a sort of loaded term. I feel like we use it a lot, but we don't define it a lot. So we're going to start with, in your small groups or your flip chart paper, someone needs to scribe. And we'll start with just the question of thinking about what is community. When you think about community, what are the descriptors or the tenets that you feel like are a part of a community? What makes it up? You can just list those characteristics on your flip chart paper, and then we will share.
Who's going to tell me what you all are doing here?
We are defining community. I don't want to
One more time.
We're defining community.
We have communication, togetherness, and belonging, some shared beliefs, values, and goals, but also being diverse at the same time, and then respecting the diversity, and fellowship, and trust, and support.
Here we have network, common goals, sharing a social space and resources, lending a helping hand, similar interests, tradition, culture, trust, creation of something new by coming together, looking out for each other's well-being, compromise, problem solving, communication.
So what I see as the common thread between these three is that you all describe sort of like the gentle characteristics of community. The characteristics of functional and quality communities is what I see. You see things like support, interpersonal relationships, what do you have over here? Working together. But a lot of times there's a tension within communities, especially the larger the community. There's going to be some give and take. There's going to be some negotiation. And that's not really represented on here, on these, which is okay, because I think our first idea of community is that it works well, and we always go to the ideal and maybe not to the reality. So what I'd like to do for the second part of this discussion is looking at these characteristics of a quality functional community that you've listed. I want you to bring it back to Bonner and think about what we currently do well now. Not ideally or not what we can move towards, but currently, in reality, what do we do as a Bonner Scholars Program well as a community? Because being 100 students, going to 30 or 40 different service sites, being involved in 200 different organizations, I mean, you all are all over the map. So it's really, really hard to come together as a community at times. I'm sure, looking around this room, there may be people in here that you've never seen before. Or there might be people in here who you don't know their name, but you see them on campus, so you nod your head when they walk by. Or they might be your best friend because they're your roommate, or you live on the hall with them. So our community is very wide-ranging, and I think we do some things really, really well. So I want to know what those things are, the two characteristics that we do well as a community.
One that we thought was broad outreach. Like, we're a part of a community as Bonners, but we're serving like different communities, so we can kind of narrow down a little more. It's kind of like if we were only connected because we live in the same town, your like objective might be to just improve that town. But because we're connected just by like a Bonner community, which is a very broad community, we can be broad with who we affect as well.
Different people coming together to achieve a common goal and establishing relationships across different areas or communities. So like us being like a central organization, but then we all, as they were saying, go out into different areas of Richmond. Or people in summer service, they go across the country, or like me or Taz, like different countries and other people too. So just kind of, we have a common goal and like we have our goals for as a Bonner organization, and then we take those and we implement those across different places.
That's wonderful. Last night, one of the students said it's good for Bonner to be a community because of the important work that we do. And she was sort of hinting at the idea of a social responsibility that we have in this room as a Bonner Scholars community. Because Kim, Debbie, and I, and other staff in the CCE really see you all as the spine of civic engagement at the university. I mean, you're involved, guaranteed for 4 years. You're at a service site. You're in a course. You engage in learning activities outside your service site. You reflect upon your service site. You go away for 1 or 2 summers, whether it be outside of Virginia or in Virginia or across the world. So you really, really, really carry everything that we are as the Civic Engagement Center with you wherever you go. So from a staff perspective, we all see you as a community that needs to be strong. And we're always hoping that you move towards that sort of strength. Now you all might view it differently from a student's perspective, but I gather that you don't, given my interactions with you and what I've seen and heard. Kim's going to do the third part of this, but I think you've really highlighted what we do well in reality in current time right now.
So when Brian started off, you know, he made the point that most of the characteristics that you all listed were very positive and kind of pointed to kind of our ideal vision and version of what a community should be, but also pointed out that most communities don't necessarily do all of those things well, that there's some tension or certainly some area for improvement. And obviously, our program, Bonner Scholars, as a community, falls in that group as well. So the last piece of this, you should also have a stack of Post-its that's near your flow chart, or you won't see, I think it sort of fell off on someone. But we want this piece to be a little more individualized, where each person takes a Post-it and writes on that Post-it the thing that you individually feel we could do better, that we could do to better our sense of community in terms of community building within Bonner Scholars. And if you'll just write that on the Post-it and then stick it on the back table, what's going to happen is Brian is actually going to organize those by theme, and this will hopefully be informative to our leadership team in terms of where we want to put our energy. What are the things that you all are excited and energetic about in terms of the community building aspect of what
Wide service events with just Bonners and even outside of Bonner. So this was the first thing that you all said we could do better to strengthen our community. The second one was social events within Bonner, sort of like fun community building type things. A couple more of you said that this would help strengthen us. And the last one, which was kind of interesting, kind of all over the map, was group formation. So a lot of you had suggestions about forming groups within Bonner, outside of Bonner, and a mix of both. Bonners with people outside of Bonner, nonners, as someone referred to. Nonners who are interested in the same things that we are. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this feedback, the feedback we got last night from the students, and we're going to post it in our office. Because these are the things that you've told us we need to work on, Kim, Debbie, and I, and the student leadership team, to form a stronger, more quality Bonner Scholars community. So these are going to be posted, and then as we start to do some of these things, we're going to write underneath, this is what we've been working on based on your suggestions. So good job with these. I thank you for this information. Say hi to everybody right here. To all your fellow Bonners who are not at this meeting. Say hi to all the Bonners who are not here.
You're missing out.
Yeah, nice. Say hi to all the Bonners who couldn't make it tonight.